In this week's Parashat, Yosef revealed himself to his brothers. His brothers, the Torah tells us that his brothers were not able to respond. They were dumbfounded. They didn't have a word that they were able to say back. They were shocked. They couldn't believe it that their brother that dreamt that he's going to become a king and that they're going to bow down to him, and then they sold him off to be a slave, ended up becoming the second to the king. They would never could have imagined such a thing. They were quiet, shocked. Obviously, what's the first thing that can race in someone's head at this point? He can take revenge. We sold him. Now that he's in power, he's going to take revenge. Yosef told them, don't worry. Don't worry, my brothers. You didn't send me here. It wasn't you who sent me here. It was HaKadosh Baruch Hu who sent me here, in order to provide food for the entire Mitzrayim and for you. If I would hear such a thing from somebody, if anybody would hear such a thing from somebody, are you going to believe him? That's just the first thing in order to become to be able to give the biggest blow afterwards, in order to calm the enemy down, and then afterwards, without him realizing, you bah! Who's going to listen to such a thing? Yosef, you were just sold to Mitzrayim. You were tortured by your brothers. Why should your brothers believe you? The truth is, his brothers did not believe him. But as long as Yaakov Avinu was alive, they knew that Yosef wouldn't harm them, because he does not want to give any more pain to Yaakov Avinu. But the Torah tells us at the end of Parashat Vayigash, after they buried Yaakov, the Torah tells us that the brothers made up a story. They came to Yosef and they said, your father commanded, Yaakov Avinu commanded that you should not harm us. You should leave us alone. And we will be your slaves, we'll do whatever you want, just please leave us alone. You see that the brothers never really were confident that Yosef forgave them. That he truly said, you didn't send me. It was HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Everything is through HaKadosh Baruch Hu does is for the good. It wasn't you who harmed me. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to come to Mitzrayim. You happen to have been the people who did the sale, but it wasn't your fault that I'm here. But they didn't believe it until Yosef. Then, after Yaakov Avinu was buried, Yosef told his brothers, no, don't worry. He reassured them, don't worry. It wasn't you. It was not you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent me. It was all HaKadosh Baruch Hu's doings. And that's why I ended up in Mitzrayim. I have no hard feelings towards you. Wow. That's a major darga. That's a major ramah. Such midat tovah. How does Yosef ignore the fact that his brothers wanted to kill him? They tore off his kutoret pasim. They dipped it in the blood. They sold him to the Midyanim. How do you do? They threw him in a pit with snakes and akrabim and crabs to die. How do you forgive such a thing? And in the entire act, no, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it. And you know why he did it? For the positive. He didn't even say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it, and it was a negative thing. How dare, whatever, chas v'chalila, a person should never say such a thing. No, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he sent me for positive, to bring food, to help in the famine. That's a great ma'ala. Yaakov Avinu, when he came to Mitzrayim to greet Yosef, the Torah tells us, when they first saw each other, that Yosef, it says, Vayipol at tzavarav vayev, that Yosef went to Yaakov Avinu, fell on his shoulders, and he started to cry. It doesn't say that they mutually fell on each other's shoulders and began to cry. It only says in singular about Yosef, and not in plural, Vayiplu. It wasn't a mutual crying. They didn't both fall on each other's shoulders. What was Yaakov doing during that time? Rashi tells us that the Chachamim said that Yaakov was in the middle of saying Kriyat Shema. Yaakov Avinu, what are you saying Kriyat Shema right now? Yaakov, you obviously don't say Kriyat Shema at the last minute that you have to say Kriyat Shema right now. You could have said Kriyat Shema a few minutes earlier. You could have said Kriyat Shema a few minutes later. Hug yourself, cry, and then say Kriyat Shema. Why are you busy saying Kriyat Shema right now in the middle of hugging Yosef? You haven't seen your son for 22 years. What was Yaakov doing? So we have two questions. One is how did Yosef see the world, see the fact that he was sold to Mitzrayim as an act of positive act that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent him lemichia for food? And what was Yaakov doing in the middle of hugging his son, saying Kriyat Shema? Hug your son, give him a couple minutes of attention, and then say Kriyat Shema. What was Yaakov doing? Two questions. We'll answer it with the following story. There was a boy who was from the village. And in the village, there was some cheese, some milk, maybe some chicken they used to eat over there, a couple vegetables that they were able to, garden vegetables that they grew. He wasn't exposed to the city lifestyle, to a lot of different things, to different colors. He had a sister that married the prince, and she was living in the big city. One day his sister sends him a letter, please come visit me. So he packs his bag and he comes visits his sister. He comes, he knocks on the door, and he's greeted by the person at the door. He brings him inside, and he sees his sister sitting by a table with fruits and vegetables of every color, he was blown away. What is this? What is this? And what is this? And what is this? And he was asking questions, and he was tasting, and he had no idea. He has to say Sheikhianu, he just has never seen such stuff before. His sister saw he was getting all excited. She said, listen, relax, you're going to be here for a while, and there's going to be food coming out now. This is just appetizers. Relax, slow down. Then they bring him the different meat, tongue, and whatever beautiful dishes that they were bringing for him. And he was, what is this? I've never tasted such thing. The smell, the scent, wow, the spices. The poor kid. Now later it was time to go to sleep. So his sister shows him to his room. She brings him in a nice room with a big comfortable bed. And in the room there was a big mirror. And this boy has never seen a mirror in his life. He turns and he sees a nice young boy. Obviously he's never seen himself. And he waves. And the boy waved back. So he smiles, and the boy smiled back. Like, oh, nice guy. Then he sees that everything he's doing, the boy's mimicking him. And he got upset. So he makes an upset face, and he walks towards the mirror. And he sees that the boy on the other side of the window is looking also back at him with an upset face. And he's thinking to himself, how dare this guy get upset at me? I didn't do anything wrong to him. He's doing something wrong. He's mimicking me. He's imitating every one of my actions. So he's making even another face. And he starts throwing his fist at him. And he sees that the boy on the other side is throwing a fist back at him. And he's turning red in the face. And he doesn't know what to do. And he goes to his sister and he's like, Tommy, what is this? Who's this guy over here by the window? So his sister realized there's no window in the room. It's the mirror. She realized her brother has never seen himself in the mirror, and he doesn't know what the action of a mirror does. So she tells him, calm down, come sleep in a different room, and tomorrow I'll tell you what's going on. She wasn't in the mood of telling him what's going on. The Pen Ish Chai said the story over, and he says, look what an imagination can do to a person. He was this close from punching the mirror, punching himself. He was so close, but it was all an imagination. The Ben Ish Chai says another story. There was a fellow, an old man, walking with a cane in the forest, and all of a sudden he sees in front of him just a few feet away, a big lion. He looks at him, he says, huh. Oh man, what am I going to do? This lion is right in front of me. So he's thinking quickly, and he decides to use his cane and aim it like as though it was a rifle. So he holds his cane in front of the thing and trying to scare the lion. And boom! The lion is hit by a bullet and it drops on the floor and dies. Wow, what a nes! My cane turned into a rifle, and he starts dancing with his cane and hugging and kissing the cane. A little bit later, he gets a tap on his shoulder. Hello, I was the hunter that was sitting on the top of the tree, and I killed him. Did you think for 1 second that your cane will actually turn into a rifle? Aren't you? Look at you, you're an older man. How could you think of such a thing? Who did it? The one above. We think that our actions really mean something. Really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is moving us. We think we can harm somebody. We think somebody can harm us. Somebody can say something negative. No. But everything is an imagination. We see it as though it's coming from the guy right in front of us that's hurting us. No. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent it to us. Why? To work on ourselves, to control ourselves. Maybe we deserve it. For whatever the reason is, don't blame the person that's in front of you. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And He's doing it for the good. For the better, to better you. Yosef understood this. He understood this message. It doesn't make sense that my brothers would all of a sudden send me to Mitzrayim. That just doesn't make sense. It must be that HaKadosh Baruch Hu had a much bigger plan in mind. And it was to feed Mitzrayim. And Yosef understood it wasn't his brothers who sent him to Mitzrayim. It was HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the whole story of the brothers, that was made up in order for him to get there. So there wasn't the brothers who sold him. It was HaKadosh Baruch Hu who wanted him to get to Mitzrayim. So don't worry about it. My brothers have nothing against you. When a person looks at the world like that, he will have no payot, he will have no troubles, he won't be sad, he won't be, all the time he's just going to be able to be besimcha, he's able to be, why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He's leading the world, He has a bigger plan. Yaakov Avinu also saw the world like this. And he realized that this feeling that he has right now, after not seeing his son for 22 years, is also part of the imagination that's in our head. It is part of that feeling that is caused by something that we think that this is the reason why I'm happy. But really HaKadosh Baruch Hu is causing this. Why? Right now I'm supposed to think HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right now I'm supposed to understand what love is. The feeling, that connection that Yaakov had to Yosef, and when he saw him, right now he understood what it means to say V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavecha. With your whole heart you shall love HaKadosh Baruch Hu with your entire heart, with your entire nefesh, with b'chol meodecha, with all your money. At this point, at the peak of his excitement, now I understand how I'm supposed to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu when I'm saying Shema. Now is the exact time to say Kriyat Shema. There's no better time. Later, that excitement will wear off. Because it's all part of the way we think. And that is why Yosef was able to live like that and forgive his brothers, because they never did anything to him. There was nothing even to forgive. And that's why Yaakov stopped to say Kriyat Shema. Because he realized that the moments that we have in life are there for us to figure out what Hashem wants from us at that moment. And everything else is just an imagination. Adka. This week, unfortunately, there was no question of the week posted, but we'll discuss a she'ela and choshen mishpat. There was a fellow, his name was Pinchas, and he was making a wedding for his son in a couple months from now, and he wanted a custom-made suit. So he goes to a tailor, and he takes his measurements, and 3 weeks before the wedding, the tailor calls up Pinchas, and he tells him, Pinchas, your suit is ready. Pinchas tells the tailor, listen, I'm sorry, I never got back to you, but I have no interest in the suit. I already ordered another suit, and I have it already. You keep the suit. So the tailor tells him, what am I going to do with your suit? You have a challenging size. I will never be able to sell your suit. What am I going to do with it? You caused me a loss. Pay for it. So Pinchas said, listen, I never bought anything. I don't have a suit from you. I didn't get it. Keep it. Do whatever you want with it. It's not mine. It's your problem. Deal with it. What's the halacha? Does Pinchas really have to pay the tailor for the suit? The Rosh in Tshuvot, in Klal Kuf Dalet Siman Vav, says that the halacha is that the tailor gets paid. Why? Because you caused him a damage. Dina de Garmi, you caused him a damage. It was your reason. It was because of your words that he went ahead and made the suit. And if you're not going to buy it, nobody else can buy it. It's called Dina de Garmi, and you're chayav to pay. You damaged him, and you have to pay for the suit. It's brought down in Shulchan Aruch. Maran Rabbi Yosef Karo brings it down in Shulchan Aruch in choshen mishpat Siman Shila Med Gimel Seif Chet, and he says that's the halacha that Pinchas has to pay for the suit. Anytime somebody would order something from somebody and he has to make it specifically for him, and it's not going to be able to be sold to anybody else other than the person who made the order, in that case, then the person who made the order will be chayav, because you caused the damage if you're going to make this guy be stuck with it. The Sema, the Mefaresh on the Shulchan Aruch says, however, the tailor will, in this case, will have to try to sell it. Try to sell it, see what you can get for it. And only then, the difference in price from what Pinchas would have bought it to what the tailor sold it now is what Pinchas would have to pay. You don't have to pay for the whole suit. Let's say somebody will buy it for a very small price. The tailor would have to try to make the sale, and then Pinchas would have to pay for the difference. That's what the Sma says. Very good. The Netivot mishpat says, what do you mean? Why isn't he like any worker? Any worker, if you hire him to do work, you should have to pay for him. But therefore he says that no matter what, you would have to pay the tailor unless you specifically told him, I'm not hiring you as my worker, rather you're doing this on your own, and I will commit to buying it. In that case, then if he doesn't buy it, he'll have to pay for it. But the Maharas Sasson, Rabbi Aaron Sasson, he lived at the same time of the Bet Yosef, in Shut Torah Temet Siman Kuf Yutet. He says that it's not true. He says that there's a difference between a worker and somebody who's a craftsman, somebody who does work with his own materials. He didn't get the materials from somebody else. He's not working with somebody else's materials. He's working with his own materials. This tailor worked with his own materials, and he made the suit out of his own stuff, and therefore he's just considered like a seller. And as long as he didn't make the sale, you don't owe him money, unless you caused him damage. And in this case, Pinchas caused the tailor damage, and he argues with this Netivot mishpat. Therefore, la halacha, if a person makes an order of something that cannot be resold unless he takes it, he's going to have to pay. However, if it could be resold for much less, he will have to pay the difference. And that is the halacha. If it could be sold at the same price, then he does not have to pay at all, like the Shulchan Aruch and the Maharas Sasson.